Ukraine readies its defenses. Canadian weapons arrive in Ukraine, and already we have a small group of Canadian Special Forces in Ukraine. This is the Great White North Report. Knows that the Russians have invaded Ukraine, ostensibly to help a secessionist group in a couple of small areas of Ukraine, and the Russians are hoping to break that away from Ukraine and claim it for their own. Kind of like they did in the Crimea. It worked in the Crimea, and they're hoping to do it again. It's called slice and dice. It's the new norm. China tried to do the same thing in India, in the Himalayas, with their border with India. They tried to slice and dice certain sections of it. They've done the same thing to Nepal. And they also tried to do the same thing in the South China Sea, where they claim a section and then dare anyone to try and take it from them. So this is what the Russians are doing on a little bit bigger scale. They've upped the ante. I saw this coming for quite some time, because Ukraine has a pro-Western government, and they're also hoping to get NATO membership because they're afraid of the Russians. Everyone's afraid of the Russians and would love to join NATO. The only real ally the Russians have in that area is Belarus. The Belarusians have a pro-Russian government. We've already sanctioned Belarus, so there's not much more we can do there. Basically, Russia wants to take these two small provinces in eastern Ukraine, as well as demilitarize the entire Ukraine and set up a government more suitable to them. At the extreme end of it, they'll just annex the whole thing again back into the Russian Empire. Putin would love to recreate the Soviet Empire. Failed state that it was. So, what have we done? Trudeau announces sanctions to punish Russia for its horrific attack on Ukraine. So we're going to sanction the Russian oligarchs and the banks. Because let's face it, the common Russian people don't have anything here in Canada. So we're going to hobble Russia's already sorry-looking economy. Russia is basically just a huge gas station and wheat farm. Not much else. No one buys Russian-made products unless it's military. And even then, the quality is pretty subpar compared to ours. Our glorious leader Trudeau called Russia's act of war a massive threat to security and peace around the world. Well, Trudeau just called the Emergencies Act. Now would be the right time to do it. So we're going to target 62 individuals and entities, including members of the Russian elite and their family members, the Russian paramilitary organization Wagner Group, and major Russian banks. Also members of the Russian Security Council, including the country's defense, finance, and justice ministers. All the Putin puppets. Interesting that Putin waited till after the Olympics to launch this attack. Effective immediately, Canada will stop issuing export permits for Russian-bound products and cancel existing permits. Putin is more of a gamesmanship than Xi Jinping and the Chinese have ever been. And he's threatening another war, and that's what Putin is risking. He knows that the West does not want to go to war over Ukraine and die in Ukraine. So he's pushing the brinkmanship past the point. He's seeing what the goalposts are. So if we do nothing, then we're giving license to Putin to continue stalking Ukraine as well as the other former Soviet republics, like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which are much smaller. He's already threatening Finland if Finland joins NATO. The thing is, most of these countries fear Russia more than they fear anyone else. He's even threatening nuclear attack if West interferes in Ukraine. Why? Well, if he does that, then it's the end of the Russian. It's the end. If he's that stupid to launch a nuclear attack anywhere, and we would retaliate in time. Well, hopefully we would. I would do what the Chinese did during the Ukraine war. Mass troops on Ukraine's western border, and if the Russians get too far, attack. Send Western forces under the quotations volunteers. Work for China and the Russians during the Ukraine war. The Russians sent air defense squadrons, part of its air force, to help the North Koreans and the Chinese during the Korean War. So Putin is threatening a lot, and if you don't stand up to a bully, then he's going to keep going. We can't do appeasement again. We tried that with Hitler. It didn't work. Remember, we kicked out Saddam Hussein when he took over Kuwait. He threatened the same thing and launched an invasion. Now it's time to do the same thing in reverse. Russia's a little bit bigger, though, but what can you do? So sanctions may work with time, but not right now. It's not helping the Ukrainians right now. Now, what has Canada done? Well, we have already sent a small group of Canadian Special Forces to Ukraine, mostly as advisors to help train up their troops. Let's face it, Canada doesn't have the military capability to fight a major war right now, let alone a small one or a localized war. Our military is in such bad shape and decline that it's not possible for us to send anything to Ukraine at this moment other than the special forces or a couple of regiments. We definitely can't send a full brigade armed to the teeth. not without seriously weakening our own defense structure in regards to Russia. The Russians could easily invade our Arctic areas. If not for the United States, they probably would have already done so. The other thing we do is we can send shipment of Canadian lethal aid arrives in Ukraine. We can send weapons. This was promised a while back to support its ally against Russian incursions. $7.8 million worth of lethal aid, equipment and ammunition to Ukraine. Previously, the aid sent to the Eastern European countries was non-lethal, including surveillance equipment, field hospitals, and other medical gear. So we've already sent non-lethal aid, now we're sending lethal aid. A little late for that one, you're already under attack. It's better to have it already there and in place and everyone trained on it. That's typical Canadian politics. Also, you have to be careful with the intelligence agencies. Calls ramped up cyber defense after Russia invades Ukraine. The Russians will use cyber attacks. They've been trying it for years. Nothing new. And it's something we got to worry about. Now it should be a wake-up call to our government that it's time to rearm our military, rebuild our Navy faster, rebuild our Air Force faster, stop all this procurement policy that they have that takes so long to do, and get the job done, and also our Army. Because let's face it, and it's time also to stop with the woke movement in our military. It's definitely not helping our professionalism. Our armed forces are at a all-time low. Thanks to the cancel culture, our senior military leadership has been hamstrung, and it's time to wake up to the fact and rearm. This should be the perfect example of why we should invest more in our military. Take all that money you're going to take from the Russian oligarchs and put it into our military. That'll pay for it. Let's ramrod the decision on our Air Force to buy new planes. Time to start thinking of opening up a fourth and possibly fifth naval yard to help speed up the rearming of our Navy, and it's time to start thinking of our options. If we can't get soldiers into the people to join the military, conscription. A lot of countries do conscription. South Korea conscripts every year. It's only a 2-3 year commitment of conscripts. It's not the best way because morale is usually lower among conscripts. But a limited conscription nationwide, conscript 18 to 20 year olds on a 2 to 3 year commitment. Of course, they're paid, and those that serve will get the same amount of years paid for their college. Or it's a path of citizenship. If you want to become a citizen in this country, you join the Army. It's a possibility. Because let's face it, I can't see Canada having the same commitment that we did in World War I and World War II. We are not the same country as we were during those two world wars. But anyway, those are just my thoughts. Any Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think of Canadian reaction to the Ukraine crisis. Have we done enough? Could we do more? Do we have the capability to do more? That would be the key question. Put comments in the comment section. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.